Hello, Los Angeles Dodgers fans. We've got fresh, exclusive videos and the latest updates just for you. Before we dive in, make sure to join our channel and hit that like button. This is the best way to stay on top of all the breaking news. Something is brewing in Los Angeles, and it's not just the usual championship aspirations of the Dodgers. Beneath the star-studded headlines and perennial expectations lies a growing sense of tension, a roster under quiet pressure, and a name that's beginning to surface in conversations no one expected: Bobby Miller. Once considered one of the organization's most exciting young arms, Miller has found himself in an unexpected position. Not in the Dodgers' starting rotation, not a staple in the bullpen, not even a lock on the major league roster. Instead, he began the 2025 season in AAA, a move that raised eyebrows but didn't immediately spark any real concern. After all, the Dodgers are known for their patience with young arms. But now, with a wave of injuries rocking the pitching staff and cracks starting to show across the field, Miller's name is suddenly being mentioned in a very different context, as a potential trade chip. Yes, a trade chip. A pitcher with an electric arm and once sky-high potential now being linked to the trade deadline buzz. Not because he's failed, but because circumstances, unpredictable and ruthless, have forced the Dodgers to consider every option. The timing is no coincidence. The Dodgers currently have a staggering 12 pitchers on the injured list, a number that's as damaging to the team's depth as it is shocking. And while some of those names are expected to return eventually, others, due to long-term injuries, have essentially removed themselves from the 2025 equation. The roster gymnastics have already begun, and with every 60-day IL placement that temporarily clears space, the pressure of the eventual roster crunch builds quietly in the background. And right in the middle of it all is Bobby Miller. He didn't make the rotation out of camp, and his lone start in the majors this season didn't inspire confidence. 3 innings, 8 hits, 6 earned runs. And to make matters worse, his road back to form has been anything but smooth. This is the same pitcher who was struck in the head by a screaming 106 miles per hour line drive during the Dodgers' very first Cactus League game of spring training. A terrifying moment that halted his momentum before it ever really started. The team has been cautious with his recovery, but the clock doesn't stop ticking on a major league season. And the Dodgers, with one eye always on October, aren't in a position to wait forever. David Schoenfield of ESPN, a respected voice in baseball circles, sees the writing on the wall. He recently singled out Miller as a name to watch as the trade deadline approaches, pointing directly to the Dodgers' injury woes and roster configuration as reasons why the young right-hander could be moved. Schoenfield's logic is hard to dismiss. With so many pitchers currently occupying IL spots but still technically on the 40-man roster, Los Angeles is operating with a bloated, clunky structure that will eventually need to be streamlined, especially when veterans like Clayton Kershaw are activated. And make no mistake, Kershaw is on his way. The future Hall of Famer took the mound in a rehab appearance just last week, tossing 3 innings and striking out 2. His return is imminent, and when he's ready, the Dodgers must make room. Someone's got to go. Could that someone be Miller? This is where the speculation becomes truly intriguing. The Dodgers are not desperate. They never are, but they're deliberate. If trading a player like Miller means shoring up a vulnerable position, say, second base or center field, it's a conversation they'll be willing to have. Those positions, after all, are quietly becoming sore spots. Tommy Edman, a versatile defender capable of handling both second base and center field, has mostly been locked into the infield. The need for consistency and reliability up the middle has forced the Dodgers to stretch thin their depth elsewhere. Center field, in particular, has been an issue. Andy Pages, who came into the season with promise and power, hasn't lived up to expectations. His batting line of .159/.274/.270 with a subpar OPS of .544 tells a story of missed opportunities and fading confidence. And on a team with postseason ambitions, patience wears thin when results don't follow. So the situation becomes clear. The Dodgers need reinforcements. They need flexibility, and they need to make tough choices. Trading Bobby Miller might not be the obvious move. It might not even be the popular one, but it could be the smart one if the return provides immediate impact and fits a specific need. His value, while perhaps diminished compared to a year ago, remains tangible. He's young, he's under team control, and he still flashes the kind of stuff that once had scouts drooling. There's always a team out there willing to take a chance on that. But the Dodgers have to ask themselves, is Miller more valuable in their clubhouse, or as a piece that helps stabilize the roster for a deep postseason run? They've done it before. They've made surprising moves at the deadline, flipping young assets for veterans, for pieces that fill gaps, for contributors who help them chase a title. They're not afraid to gamble, because for this franchise, the goal isn't just to compete. It's to win everything, every single year. This is the part of the season where decisions like these begin to take shape. Quiet calls are made. Scouts are sent to minor league games. Executives start thinking about August and September, not April and May. And players like Bobby Miller, stuck in the uncomfortable middle between promise and production, become central figures in backroom conversations. The Dodgers haven't shown their hand yet. They're not tipping pitches. But if you listen closely, if you look at the roster, if you consider the injuries, the positional needs, the looming return of Kershaw, and the way the front office operates, you start to see the picture forming. A trade may not be inevitable, but it's on the table. And if it happens, Bobby Miller could be the name that makes it possible. Stay tuned. But before we move forward, don't forget to join our channel and give this video a like. Your support helps us keep delivering the latest news about the Los Angeles Dodgers. We'd love to hear your thoughts on the news, so drop a comment below. The Los Angeles Dodgers are back in the headlines again. And this time, it's not about Shohei Ohtani's every swing, Mookie Betts' wizardry at shortstop, or Freddie Freeman's consistency at the plate. No, this one comes straight from the front office, and it might just be the next piece in their ever-evolving pitching puzzle. According to multiple reports and insider whispers, the Dodgers are actively engaged in negotiations with veteran right-hander Chris Bassitt. That's right, Bassitt, the crafty, durable arm currently with the Toronto Blue Jays, might be packing his bags for Hollywood. Now, let's not rush past this like it's just another rumor. Because when the Dodgers start circling a pitcher mid-season, especially one of Bassitt's caliber, it's never random. This is a franchise that does its homework. They're deliberate. They're strategic. And right now, they're clearly not satisfied with where their rotation stands. Injuries have piled up, and while there's undeniable star power with guys like Tyler Glasnow and Yoshinobu Yamamoto, there's also instability. Walker Buehler's long-awaited return is still a question mark. Clayton Kershaw remains on the shelf, and the back end of the rotation has been, let's say, inconsistent at best. So enter Chris Bassitt, a name that doesn't make daily headlines but brings exactly what the Dodgers might need most: stability, reliability, and postseason experience. He's the kind of pitcher who's not going to blow hitters away with 99 miles per hour heat. But what he lacks in flash, he more than makes up for in craft. His mix of sinkers, cutters, and curveballs, paired with an almost surgical ability to work the edges, makes him a nightmare for lineups that thrive on power. Bassitt's 2024 season so far has been, well, very Bassitt-like. Not dominant, not spectacular, but consistent. Solid ERA, good whip, durable innings. For a Dodgers team trying to manage workload and survive the grind of a 162-game marathon with October ambitions, that's gold. That's the kind of arm you can throw out there every fifth day and sleep at night, knowing he'll keep your bullpen fresh and your team in the game. But here's where it gets interesting. The Blue Jays aren't exactly in a position of strength. They've stumbled out of the gate this year, plagued by offensive struggles and rotation questions of their own. Bassitt, now in his mid-30s and owed a hefty sum, could be a logical piece for Toronto to move if the wheels fall off before the All-Star break. He's got one more year after this on his 3-year deal signed in 2022, so this wouldn't be a pure rental. That complicates the negotiation, but also makes it more intriguing. The Dodgers love players with term, especially if they think they can get value down the road. And remember, we're talking about Andrew Friedman here. When he makes a move, it's never just about the now. This is a front office that always has one eye on October and another on next March. Bassitt, in that sense, could be part of a bigger plan. either to fortify the rotation for the stretch run or to set up future depth as they navigate what could be a transitional offseason in 2025. Think about it. If Kershaw retires or signs elsewhere, if Buehler doesn't bounce back, if prospects take longer to develop, having a guy like Bassitt under contract for another year suddenly looks really smart. Then there's the locker room fit. By all accounts, Bassitt is beloved by teammates. He's a grinder, a no-nonsense guy, someone who doesn't shy away from the tough matchups or the bright lights. He's pitched in New York. He's handled postseason pressure. He won't flinch in October. For a Dodgers team with so many stars and so much expectation, that kind of veteran presence can be quietly invaluable. So what would it take to get him? That's the big question. Toronto isn't going to just give him away. They're going to want prospects. But they might not be able to demand the moon either. Bassitt isn't on an expiring deal, but he's also not an ace. He's a solid number 3 or 4 starter on a contending team, and that comes with a market value, especially if teams around the league start seeing the Blue Jays as sellers. The Dodgers, as always, have the ammunition. Their farm system remains one of the deepest in baseball. Names like Nick Frasso, Landon Knack, and even Andy Pages have come up in trade chatter. Whether LA is willing to part with one of them for Bassitt remains to be seen, but don't underestimate their ability to get creative. They've packaged deals before, moved depth pieces, and used 3-team trades to finesse value. But what's clear is this: the Dodgers aren't standing pat. Even after one of the splashiest offseasons in recent memory, even with a star-studded lineup and one of the league's best records, they see the need for another arm. Maybe not a headliner. Maybe not someone who's going to take the mound in Game 1 of the NLDS, but someone who can get them there. Someone who can make 28 starts, log 170 innings, and give them a shot every time out. And that's what Chris Bassitt is. He's not the flashiest name on the trade block, but he might just be one of the most valuable. In a market where frontline starters are either locked up or overpriced, Bassitt offers that rare combination of affordability, experience, and durability. The Dodgers don't need another superstar. They need glue, and Bassitt fits the mold. Now we wait. Talks are still in the early stages, but there's real interest here. And when the Dodgers start kicking the tires on a deal, it usually doesn't take long for things to escalate. Bassitt, for his part, has stayed quiet. He's focused on pitching, but don't think he's unaware. He knows the business. He knows what it means when the Dodgers come calling. And you better believe he'd be intrigued by the chance to join a rotation with Glasnow, Yamamoto, and possibly Buehler, playing for a team with real World Series aspirations. So don't be surprised if the next big name to land in Los Angeles isn't a bat, but an arm. And not just any arm, but one that can go 6 solid, keep the game tight, and hand it over to the bullpen without the drama. Chris Bassitt might not be the blockbuster move fans dream about, but he could be the exact move the Dodgers need. Smart, subtle, and steady. And in October, that might be the difference between another early exit and a parade through downtown LA. Stay tuned, because this story is just getting started. That's all for this update. If you enjoyed the video and want to stay up to date with exclusive news about the Los Angeles Dodgers, be sure to subscribe to our channel and hit that like button. We always appreciate your comments and feedback. See you in the next video.